Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the debrief of Nottingham Forest 3, West Ham United 0. I hope your day gets a little bit better from here on in. I hope you go on to have a lovely day. Two good games of football on TV. I'm looking forward to it, actually. I wouldn't say I've got over yesterday. I think I've got over the match because of the bigger picture. I think that completely overshadows the 90 minutes on the pitch. And I think football should be the other way around. It should be about the 90 minutes on the pitch. But it's hard to say that yesterday you can think about the game in isolation and that's all. That's proven difficult for me. And when I was reading the comments of the review last night and this morning, I think it's proven difficult for a lot of our subscribers as well. And that's what this show's about. This show is about your opinion. So get them into the live chat. But I feel like a lot of people have just come to the end now. And over the years, you get to know your subscribers' opinions. You get to know which ones can be a little bit emotional and which ones can be very calm, which ones like David Moyes, which ones didn't, which ones like Antonio, which ones don't. You build up a little bit of a picture about subscribers that comment on the regular. And last season, there was a split with David Moyes, and I'm not going to go into it, but I think it's important for a comparison, really. There was a split with Moyes. Some wanted him to stay, some didn't. But in the last 24 hours, I'm not really even seeing one with Lopetegui. I feel there's a lot of people. I'll pick out one in particular because I feel like he won't mind me doing it. Hopefully he doesn't. And that's Dom. My showbiz name is his username on YouTube. Dom said yesterday, and he was, calm with Moyes. He was pro Moyes, if you like. And he just put up a comment yesterday saying, I don't get it. I don't get this appointment and I can't see him turning it around. And the context is important here. This is a very calm subscriber that had no issue with David Moyes. Even he's thinking, I just don't get it with Lopetegui. There's not even a split with Lopetegui. Anyway, let's turn to the live chat and see what you are all saying. Thank you very much for joining me. If you're watching this later on Sunday, or maybe you're watching it on Monday or Tuesday, get involved in the comments below because later on in the week, I'll be doing my video where I take a look at everybody's comments in the comment section and see what people are saying and have a little discussion around it because it's easy content and I need easy content this week because it's a big day for me on Saturday. So if I can do one of those videos and put it up and have a day off this week, I'll still have some to do, but if I don't have to record for one day this week, that'd be appreciated because it's a bloody busy one. Anyway, Steve says after international break, it's Newcastle away, Arsenal at home, 2 hidings upcoming. Yet this board has already come out and said we will still back Lopetegui 100%. Philip said he's got to go. I can't understand a word the guy says. No direction, no idea. How he's been given 3 million a year is beyond me. If he was paid per performance, he'd be queuing up at the food bank. Do you know, for something, I'm quite relieved that nobody can understand him because obviously I've got a hearing deficiency. So when he was did his first few press conferences, I was sat there like, I'm going to struggle with this guy. But when other people, I'm assuming Philip has normal hearing, so I can't understand. Oh, it's not just me then. There's no discrimination when it comes to Lopetegui. It's not just people hard of hearing that can't understand him. It's everyone. That's good. Ray says he's got to go, and now otherwise it's going to be a long, sad season trying not to get relegated. Simon says after 12 games, nothing can gel to give us any identity because tactics and team selection change all the time in an incoherent mess. Lopetegui has to go, end the chaos. Hammer in Exile says we have no leaders on the pitch and the body language when we concede is horrible. We've seen several collapses this season. Players have to be accountable to. What's that? 5 games now. I think we've conceded at least 3 goals. He's only been here 12 games. That's alarming. DX says, yes, go now. Another 6 games like this, and we're going to be at the bottom end of the table come Christmas. Paul said, get rid of him now, not get any better under this plank. An atrocious appointment from day one. This Poxy club has big problems. I'm not being biased, by the way. I'm not just sitting here clicking on the ones that want Lopetegui to go. I'm trying. Randy says, do you think Lopetegui has a KPI contract, any clauses in it, or his fear is that with Sullivan, he's giving him a straight managerial contract and we will come stuck with him because we're stubborn? I don't know where this chat of a KPI contract first came from. I remember explain it in a video to Gonzo, and I'm not saying this is why it came about, right? But I'm just a bit concerned sometimes. I remember saying it in a video to Gonzo regarding another Premier League club, and I'm not going to go into it, but Gonzo didn't know about it, so I just told him. And the next couple of days, a lot of people were commenting about the next guy getting a KPI manager, and I was a bit concerned that people thought I said the next guy is going to, but I never said that, and I don't know where it's come from, and I didn't believe for 1 second that Lopetegui or a other manager would get a KPI contract. It's very unique to one club in the Premier League, and it's because of the way that club has been built for years. So no, I don't think he's got one. I don't think he was ever going to get one. I don't think he should have got one, and I don't know where it's come from. I think there's a bit of either misunderstanding what I was saying in that video with Gonzo and it's snowballed, or there's fake news. I'm not sure which one it is, but either way, no. Big no. DiCanio says, they said you've got to trust the process. He's seen enough of the process. Getting Lopetegui out. Chris says we need Sullivan out before a new manager gets put in place. Can't trust him. There's a fan cam up from Chris later on today, but we'll discuss fan cams in 5 minutes or something. Brian says Lopetegui isn't going until after Christmas. Seasons are defined then, and ours will be a relegation battle. The teams below us are starting to get confidence, and we're stuck with this clown. Michael said, I knew it would take time for whoever we brought in, but we haven't improved in any way. Individual players are worse. Discipline is worse, and style and results are no better. Brian said, when people say be careful what you wish for, I feel like it's a small team mentality. No one says this to the top clubs. We have one of the top attendances in the Premier League. Michael says, when will Sullivan put his hand in his pocket, employ a good and competent manager / head coach? Grant, Pellegrini, Moyes, ring any bells? I mean, I think it's harsh to include David Moyes in there, personally, Michael. I know you weren't, what I said about subscribers, I know you weren't a fan of David Moyes, but 3 seasons of European football and a trophy, I think it's a bit harsh to put Moyes in that category. I don't think Sullivan knew what was going to happen when he employed Moyes. He got very lucky, but it still worked out. David says, I want him gone. We were awful to watch and have no identity, no leadership on and off the pitch, and the red cards are concerning. Sullivan needs to swallow his pride and act now. Word Hammer 83 says, hard to see where we go from here. I don't trust Sullivan to pull the plug as it's admitting his error. I'm not sure he has to. I expect to see more mind games and more people distance themselves from each other this week. Yeah, that will come. I was surprised at how calm the media storm was post Spurs, actually. It wasn't as bad as I thought it would be, but I think this one's got a different feeling about it. Steve says, yes, they were lacking in all areas: creativity, defending, tactical awareness, physicality, discipline, and pace. That was largely due to one person, Lopetegui. He isn't up to the Premier League. Paul says, I didn't want Moyes to stay, but doesn't mean I wanted this. Not since Avram Grant have I seen a manager just so out of his depth. We are the worst team in the Premier League. No joking, and it's embarrassing. Ralph said, after 57 years of West Ham, just about had enough of us under David Moyes to rinse and repeat under Lopetegui. I think it's worse. I think it's a lot worse. Hammer 99 says Sullivan needs to put his pride to the side, admit his mistakes, and sack Lopetegui. Let Steiden, literally someone employed to make football decisions, to get to whoever he wants and judge him on that one. Steve says, I don't think we'll beat Everton and we'll get absolutely smashed by Newcastle. Maybe then Sullivan will pull the trigger. Don't think he'll do so before then. The thing is, I don't think we'd lose. I'm still not sure we get beat by Everton. I know why some people think we're the worst team in the league right now. I'm not sure we are. I think Everton are possibly that team. But that's I guess, a bad thing, really. If we beat Everton, it's a stay of execution for him. Preview said he's got to go. He can't figure out a formation or his starting 11. We're almost a third of the way through the season. Must be changed before it's too late. Angus said wasn't excited by this appointment, but like many other fans, got myself feeling optimistic. I can't actually believe how bad he is. Chris says he has to go. The interviews are depressing. He can barely speak any English. Smith says, 10 games, I said, not seen any changes since game 1. Time is up, but our board will keep hold of him till last minute. We're battling for survival. SC said the season is still savable if action is taken now, but Sullivan won't do it. He will let us fall into a relegation fight. We'll probably finish around 13, and all of us fans have had a season waited. Steve says, should have listened to 2 Wolves fans that was on the channel just about the time Lopetegui is appointed. Both of them less than 1,000. One said we would catch it. He got a lot of stick, that Wolves fan. They're both called Dave, funnily enough, but the harsher Dave got a lot of stick from people saying he was bitter, didn't know what he's talking about and stuff. I think there's maybe a few people who owe that Dave an apology in regards to his opinion. Barney says, "Is there a collection for?" Oh, sorry, I don't read comments before I click on them. Is there a collection for my wedding? No, there's not. I don't know if you mean physically, as in PO box or like a GoFundMe. There's neither. I'm definitely not doing a PO box. I get enough grief and comments and get enough abuse through emails. I don't need physical items being sent to my house as well. I think I like to avoid that scenario if possible. But thank you, Barney. It's a lovely thought. Thank you, but unnecessary. And no, there isn't anything set up. Dylan said, "I'm disgusted by this. Lopetegui doesn't know how to set up this team, and our discipline is in the bin. Give the likes of Irving and Ings, but Everton game can't do any worse." Aqua said, "I want Lopetegui to be given a decent shot. Tough start to the season against top 6 clubs. He must get team selections right, though." Matt says, "I understood the decision 5 at the back due to the way we attack second half versus Man U. However, putting Bowen up front with 2 of the most physical centre-backs in the league is mad." Bro says, "All contracts nowadays should have KPIs in them. Would be surprised if there wasn't one in there. If they're in the bottom 3, that they could pull the trigger." That's not Brentford. I don't want to get into this conversation, bro, but that's not what Brentford do. It's the irony is the one KPI that isn't in Thomas Frank's contract is league position. That it's not there. They don't have it. So if they're in the top 3, bottom 3, it doesn't actually make a difference. I don't want to go over trodden ground because I did it in depth with Gonzo in one video months ago. It was last season, just because Gonzo never heard about it, so I had to explain it all to him. Chris says, "Yes to go. Can hardly understand him talking in interviews. Cheap appointment as usual. We're in a relegation battle, whether we like it or not." Phil says, "We're in a relegation scrap already. I can't see he's the man to get us out of it. Don't see our players being good enough to fight our way out of it either." Chippy says, "Sullivan will not sack him easily as Lopetegui is his personal choice, so dig in. We've got a lot more to go through yet, and Moyes could be back after Christmas." The one thing I will say in regards to Sullivan having to admit his mistake, I agree with that, but I think Lopetegui did something before the Chelsea game, not Lopetegui, Tim Steidten did something before the Chelsea game, which I think gives Sullivan a get out of jail card. Now, I'm not saying that you have to believe him. I'm not saying that you have to believe Tim Steidten. Put that to one side. Look at it without emotion, which is difficult to do, but just for the next minute, put your thoughts to one side, please. Cleanse the mind. Breathe. Right. Before the Chelsea game, Tim Steidten went on TNT Sports, got interviewed, and he stood there, big smile on his face, bigging up the appointment of Lopetegui, and he basically said he chose Lopetegui. Emotion comes back in here, thoughts come in. We don't believe that, right? We know, well, some people do, but we feel that it was a David Sullivan choice and Lopetegui went along with it. I think that's a general consensus. But again, park that. Tim Steidten said, "Oh no, this is the guy I wanted as well." I think that interview gives David Sullivan a get out of jail card. Yes, Sullivan would personally have to swallow his pride and whatever. But in terms of admitting his mistakes, Sullivan would be well within his right to say, as a football club, myself, Tim Steidten, Karen Brady, Mark Noble. Was he in the interviews? I assume he would be, but whether he had a say in decision, I don't know. But he should be in the interviews. He's on par with Tim Steidten in regards to hierarchy at the club. As a football club, we got the decision wrong. Just you don't have to say I got it wrong. We as a club, because I'd like that. I prefer that. I prefer the club to be pulling in one direction. Either they all succeed or they all fail. What I don't like is what we've seen earlier on in the season when they all start pointing the finger and saying, "Oh, it was his fault. It's him. He chose. I wanted that guy. He wanted him." But I think Steiden's little speech will give Sullivan a little bit of a get out. And yes, West Country Hammer, this is a Christmas jumper, you see. Right, first of all, well, there's one reason. We need to sell them. That's why I'm wearing it. It's not because I'm in the mood for Christmas or anything like that. It's to promote it. That's purely why I'm wearing this jumper today. But there's only 7 Fridays until Christmas Day. It's not that far away. We're in November. Christmas Day is in December. Granted, it's the 3rd of November. But anyway, Christmas jumpers are on sale. We have 44 in stock. I know this is I'm going to take an unusual marketing technique here, apart from wearing it. That's a normal one. We have 44 Christmas jumpers in stock across all sizes and all 3 different variations. We won't be replenishing them this year because I've had a box full of Christmas jumpers in my house for the last 12 months, and I've been getting grief from the Mrs. Geo to be next weekend. I've been getting a lot of grief because it's a big box, 44 jumpers. It takes up a lot of space. I need them gone. So if you want a Christmas jumper, hammerchatstore.com/jumpers. Links in the description below. 44 to go. Between now and Christmas, we'll be doing a countdown as to how many is left. And hopefully before Christmas, none. The answer will be none. They're all gone. So yeah, I'm wearing it to try and sell them. Edward says, do you believe that he will go if we fail to beat Everton? I think it depends on other results. I think if we sit 15th, for example, I think he'll stay. But if we're maybe in the bottom 3, not sure. I do think this is different, though. I did a video a couple of weeks ago that I think David Moyes was untouchable by Sullivan. Sullivan just would not sack David Moyes because he had credit in the bank. And I think he was right. I do think Moyes had credit in the bank. Lopetegui ain't got that. Lopetegui has done nothing here in order to have that stay of execution. And I think Sullivan probably believed Moyes would turn things around, but Sullivan was able to point to things David Moyes had done at West Ham and say, this is why I think he will turn it around. And I would argue he wasn't wrong. You know, the second last season, relegation battle, but we won a European trophy. Then last season, we finished 9th, not the end of the world, quarterfinal of Europa League. We were in a shout of European football. You know, we went into the January transfer window just past 6th in the Premier League. So I think Sullivan was correct to say that he will do okay. But there's no body of evidence about that with Lopetegui. So I do think the scenario is different. And if you go back to Pellegrini and Slaven Bilic, he sacked them. So the last 3 managers, he sacked 2 of them. So maybe I'm just hoping all this talk of KPIs in his contract, I don't believe. I just hope there's a clause in there which allows him to sack him for minimal compensation. There absolutely should be. And Cyber saying, who do we get? Do you think we will do good? Someone like the Bournemouth manager or the Brighton geezer? I think it would be someone free. I do. I don't think Sullivan will sack anyone until he's got someone else lined up. I think that's the one thing. He ain't going until he's got someone else signed up. Nick said, he said this yesterday, I was never Moyes in or out, but this guy needs to go. But a massive team of backroom staff. And all it's done is confused our players and made us even worse. DC says, between Lopetegui and Steiden, they made a right mess of this. The manager is poor, but our squad looks very poor now. I can't see any way forward other than binning off Lopetegui. Donna says, Sullivan won't sack Lopetegui until Terzic or anyone else worth getting are all employed elsewhere. He's got no sense of timing. Colin Wood says if we lose badly against Everton, I think he'll get the push. Surreal says I'm done with Sullivan's crap. Lopetegui can go as well. He hasn't got a clue. Getting sick of the almighty Tim Steidten too. Stupid signings and no youth at all coming through. I think the thing with the youth not coming through, correct. The closest we've got is Casey on the bench, but our good young players are out on loan at the minute, and they're doing well. Kudua scored again. I think there's a few of our youngsters they're getting lots of minutes at the club. Kadua's just back from injury. Marshall's been picking up minutes all season at Huddersfield. Earthy's back from injury. Patrick Kelly's been picking up minutes as well. So some of the loan moves have been really good for the young players this season. Not all of them. One or two are not doing so well, but we cover that on Patreon. Paul says next manager not selected by Tim Steidten. He should walk or just get rid of him and admit we're never going to change under this board. Casey, can't tell if it's tongue in cheek, maybe not, says get Moy back until the end of this season. Cranker saying, what do we think about Areola at Bournemouth? I've done a video about him a couple of weeks ago. I don't want to just repeat myself too much. Mark saying Patrick Kelly scored yesterday. Didn't realise that, Mark. I wait till I do my loan report video and I go through everything. But that's good. That's his first goal this season for Patrick Kelly. So that's a nice bit of footage to include in my loan report this week. Two players have scored. So some of the young players, they're not having an opportunity, but they are doing well. And I would argue that maybe their development is better served playing week in, week out for the likes of Huddersfield and Doncaster than it is for what Casey's doing, which is sat on the bench. And that was something that annoyed me yesterday. I appreciate this is really small, right? This is a really small thing, but it got on my wick. So with 20 minutes to go, the game was done, right? It's 3-0 Nottingham Forest. When it was 3-0, the game was over, 10 men. I thought, well, let's just accept that and bring on Guilherme and bring on Casey. He brought on Irving, but he'd only made 3 subs in total. I thought, just put Guilherme on the pitch, give him 15 minutes. You just never know. He might just do something. Bring him on for Bowen if you have to. Rest Bowen up. There's no point risking him. Get Kilman off. He's played every minute. Get Kilman off and put Casey on. And I don't know. It was just something. I think the opportunities to play the likes of Guilherme and Casey are so far and few between. I think when you're getting beat 3-0 and you're down 10 men, I think you might as well just start to do other things other than get back into the game, because that's not happening. I just get the 2 young players on and just get them some experience, get them some minutes, and hopefully they play well in that 15 minutes. And the game, I know Forest were slapping us, but the game had died a little bit in terms of tempo. It was over. Forest knew it was over as well. But it's just such a small thing, but it's just a bit one of those things. Daniel said, in 25 years supporting a club, we've never hired a manager that fans have totally loved and connected with. It's always been the one thing missing. I disagree. I think Bilic, I absolutely loved. Trying to think of I think Zola. I know this is a bit, but I really took to Gianfranco. I absolutely loved Zola. I think his football was good, and the results weren't the best. And maybe he was Mr. Nice Guy too much. And obviously, we've got his sidekick now at Scotland, who's doing okay, and was doing well, not so much now. But yeah, there's been managers I've taken to. I enjoyed Pardew, not necessarily the character of Pardew, but a little bit of it. But the minute he prioritised the FA Cup is a minute that I was already won over before then. But that's when I was like, well, I really love this guy. Allardyce was always going to be a tough character to warm to. Pellegrini, I had high hopes for, and that backfired on me big time. Moyes, I had little hopes for me. That backfired on me big time because he did really well. And there was a period when we were, 2020, 2021, 21, 22, I warmed to David Moyes. I was enjoying the football. That season with Jesse Lingard, I absolutely loved it. I thought the football was brilliant. We were scoring goals, 2-3 goals a game, winning European football. I loved it. It went sour, and by the end of it, I was sick of him. But there was a period of Moyes' tenure where I really liked him. Lopetegui, nothing. Going back before that, Kirbishley, I was just bored as hell under Alan Kirbishley. I was really bored under Alan Kirbishley. Cranker, am I not happy though? Sullivan's plans backfired on. I never said I was happy. Hang on a minute. Don't start saying that. Don't start making on. I'm happy. I'm 25 minutes so far, and your conclusion is I'm okay with what's happening. I think you've misread the room. Hammer 99 said if we lose to Everton, then he would be the best. It would be the best time to sack him. Have someone ready to take over during the international break. Tough fixtures to start if the case, but change is needed. Thing is, I know it's the tough fixtures. But when are they not in the Premier League? You look at the fixtures you look at West Ham's fixtures, right? At no point do you go, oh, easy. I know what you're saying, Hammer Knight, and this, I'm not digging you out, but I think the days of easy fixtures in the Premier League are gone, because you could have a run of, say, Brentford, Palace, Wolves, Everton, and you think, oh, that's a nice run, but by the time you come to play them, usually at least one of the teams are in front. Like Nottingham Forest. At the start of the season, if you looked at this and went Nottingham Forest, Everton, you would have thought, oh, I fancy 6 points there. But by the time we come to play Nottingham Forest, because of a bit of the form we're in, but also because of the form Nottingham Forest are in, that game's difficult, and it proves so. I don't think there is easy games. I would argue, you look at Arsenal at the minute, and you think, do you know what? They're not firing, are they? If we were in form, that Arsenal game is no longer as difficult as it was at the start of the season, if that makes sense. Guys was saying that Zola was underrated, made to sell his players when he didn't want to. West Ham Bro says, after listening to Under the Kosh podcast, I've got a newfound love for Big Sam. I thought he was the right manager at the right time. A season too long, but the right manager at the right time. But just as a character, he's difficult to get to. He's very brash, and it worked, but he was just difficult to get to. Brian said, I hope Sullivan has already got Tim looking for a Lopetegui replacement. I wouldn't bother. I think he didn't even let him look for one to replace Moyes with 12 months' notice. I don't think he's going to do it with a week's notice. Mark says, lack of hope right now. There's no sign of progression, feeling that the manager is almost guessing. I think that's key for me. I think that is really, really key, because I think it feels like it's going to get worse. This is what I said in the review yesterday. And emotions are high when I do a review. It's immediately after the full-time whistle. And I stand by some things, maybe not the Michael Bannon comment, but I stand by some things I said in that video. And one of them was, I don't think it's got as bad as it's going to get yet. I struggle to see it improving, but I can see it getting worse. And that is alarming. That is really, really alarming for me. And I think that's why I think what Mark has said here is bang on the money. Old Jay says, sad to say he has to go. I'm not one for sacking managers quickly, but he has to go. I assume he's wasted that. Alan said, I wanted to give him time, but enough is enough. This season has a little bit of Avram Grant about it. I think a few people have got that about it as well. Mark said, a sign of dressing room problems and a lack of discipline on the pitch. This worries him greatly. Yeah, 3 red cards in 10 games is somewhat concerning. It's like I said, it's part of the bigger picture, isn't it? You know, this video we do the day after the game is usually about the match. Menon says sack Lopetegui and get who's the best option we have. I would argue he's possibly the worst option, personally. Not sure about that one. Tommy says, I thought before the season you had one of the best summer windows out of the team. What's gone wrong? Not something I declared. I appreciate a lot of people did. I got my fingers burnt a few summers ago. I thought the window was fantastic, and it turned out to be rubbish, and most of the signings didn't work out. So I've always stayed away from saying that we've done well in the transfer window. But I had suspicions over the striker purchase. I think Füllkrug's a good player, but good players do not equal good transfers. And I had suspicions over a little bit over the signing of Wan-Bissaka, not because of Wan-Bissaka. I think Wan-Bissaka is a good signing. I thought he was a good player and a good signing. But my suspicions was that Lopetegui tended to play with high fullbacks, and I felt during pre-season we didn't really see much of it. Actually, I didn't think the fullbacks were that high up the pitch because we were quite often playing. Sometimes we're playing with 3 at the back in pre-season. And I thought, okay, maybe like the way we're going to play under Lopetegui, we're not going to have fullbacks high at the pitch because if so, Kyle Walker's the guy you go get. Kyle Walker-Peters, you get him. We've got Wan-Bissaka. And I still think for the first couple of games, we weren't really playing the fullbacks high up the pitch this season. But over the last few weeks, we definitely are. And this is the thing that's a little bit wild yesterday. When you played the way we did, you require your fullbacks to provide the width, wingbacks to provide the width, to provide the creativity. And there's 2 big problems with that. Problem number 1 is they're not very good at crossing. Wan-Bissaka and Emerson, neither are great at, let's just say, creativity to cover all aspects of it. Neither of them are creative. Their crossing's not good. They're through balls, if you like, their delivery, anything. The final third execution from Emerson and Wan-Bissaka is poor. So we were relying on 2 players to get up the pitch and provide width and creativity, but yet they're not very creative. But even if you get over that, even if you think, okay, let's just pretend they were good. Problem number 2 is what they're going to do when they get the ball out wide. They're going to want to cross it. We set up with relying on 2 players that are not very good at going forward to get forward. And then the other thing we relied upon was crossing the ball to Somerville, Bowen, and Paqueta up against Murillo, Milankovic, Yates, and Dominguez. Our tactics were to get the ball wide and possibly cross it and put Jared Bowen in an aerial duel with Milankovic. I mean, I don't get it. I just didn't get it. I thought when I was watching it, I was sat there going, I don't understand what we are trying to do here. Like, I just didn't get it whatsoever. And the biggest frustration for me yesterday, I love Bowen. I love Bowen on the right. He's okay up front in certain games. But this was never a game Bowen up front was going to work. And he thought it would. And after 15 minutes, you could tell it's not working because we were having a lot of the ball. We were knocking around at the back. We were knocking the ball about. But Bowen was not in the game whatsoever. But he still didn't change it. He still just left it. And then when in the second half, when he brings on Antonio, he puts Antonio out left and keeps Bowen up front. Just, honestly, mind-blowing. I just didn't get it. I just did not get it whatsoever. Guys, thank you so much. Thank you for the £20 super chat. It means a lot. It says just a little for the wedding fund, and thank you for all you do. Thank you very much. That's cheered me up. Guys, thank you. Wedding on Saturday. Nerves are starting to kick in a little bit. Despite doing this for a job, public speaking isn't really my thing. The idea of, do you know what I mean? Speaking and also heaving things. So standing, listening, repeating what somebody has to say. Not my idea of fun, right? When you can't hear very well, the last thing you want to do is put yourself in a situation where you rely on listening. But here we are. That's what I'm going to be doing on Saturday. Relying on listening and repeating, possibly making an error. Maybe I'm just going to try and learn the vows off the top of my head so I don't have to repeat it. I can just blah, 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 blah. And the wedding at 3 p.m. It's 2:30. The ceremony starts at 2:30. So we'll just get married just before kickoff. So when the drinks reception's occurring, it means that the people there can watch the West Ham game if they want to. There's other fans coming, Man United, Liverpool, Stoke. There's a few different fans coming. Anyway. Right then, I'm going to disappear. Thank you very much. Thank you to Gaz, but thank you very much to everybody for joining me. If you're watching this later on, please put your comments down below, and I'll be doing a video during the week. Christmas jumpers. go to hammerchatstore.com. The link's in the description below. There will be fan cams going up today. If you want to send us one, please do, but make sure it's in by 6 p.m. today. We will not be we've been receiving feedback from people. Some are loving fan cams, some not so much. So what we're doing today is the fan cams I've got up today. It will say fan cam in the title of the video. So if you click on it, kind of your fault. But tomorrow onwards, there will be no fan cams. So today is the only day fan cams will get put up across both YouTube channels. So keep your eyes out. There's 4 at the minute to go up. Chris, Brandon, Cameron, and Gatesy have kindly sent in fan cams. They'll get put up, and I'm sure there might be another couple during the day as well. If you enjoyed them, good. I enjoyed them. If you don't, they'll be easy to avoid. In the title of the video, it will say fan cam at the very start. Tomorrow onwards, any video goes up on Hammer's Chat or the forum channel will not be a fan cam. It'll be myself and Gonzo, and on Tuesday it'll be mine and Frankie's podcast as always. Thank you very much for joining me, though. Please do drop a like on the video before you go away. Click that thumbs up. It helps us out. It helps out the video, helps out the channel, makes me happy. Subscribe if you're new to Hammer's Chat, and I shall catch you all tomorrow. See you then.